So if Jet has a close guard here, this one is one that we learned from Higgin Machado. And so maybe I've tried to do this pass several times and he keeps shutting it down. Every time I put my leg up to do the shuck pass, he starts trying to put his hook in, right? So you try to spin your leg under and try to get a hook. Something like that, right? So that he can start to dump me over that way. You know, if he's trying to do this stuff and I'm just like, okay, I just can't get it. Maybe he's being really heavy every time I try to stand up, so it's gonna be really hard for me to do that. I'm gonna come low here, I'm gonna block both of his biceps here, right? And then I'm gonna take this arm and I'm gonna underhook his shoulder here, getting really, really tight to his body. If I start to go for this pass and I don't get this, he's got a clear path to my back. So it's really important that we maintain that underhook here, right? Now from here, I'm just gonna start to sprawl out. And so the same side I have got this hook on, that's the hip I want to make heavy, and I'm going to put it right down onto his thigh, and I'm going to pin his thigh to the ground as I walk over onto my side. So you see that's trying to move his hips and it's weakening his ankle grip here, and it's giving me a pretty clean path to that. So if you, as you can see, like if I didn't have this underhook here, he's got a very, very clean path to my back. So it's really, really critical that when we do this, I'm pinning and I'm dragging my hip heavily. All my weight is on this thigh, right? So from here, it's gonna be really hard for me to hold on to this at this point. So I can usually just push this off. And if I wanted to, I could just hop that leg, turn the corner, and come into side control, right? So for whatever reason, I couldn't pass. So I'm gonna get myself nice and low here. A lot of times just blocking his biceps. The reason why I'm doing this is so that he's gonna struggle to try to attack me with those arms, right? When I get low like this, he's got a lot of attacks. My arms are down, so if he wanted to, he could set up an omoplata here pretty easily. He could probably get an arm bar pretty easily. So me having control of his biceps here kind of prevents a lot of that. So I'm gonna switch to an underhook with my right arm. I'm gonna take my right leg, I'm gonna straighten it out, and I'm gonna move off the center line here, and I'm gonna put all my weight onto his thigh as I start to move around. Now I break open that guard and I seek the head control here. Now from here, he might actually start to lock up on that leg, right? So he's got now the kind of half guard situation here, and that's not so great. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my other leg, I'm gonna straighten it down and I'm gonna pop my hip up, come over into this reverse switch base position. Now I could either swim my hand in and I'm put my palm up to the ceiling here, right? It's gonna be really hard for me to start to get my knee out with my palms down. I can just start to pop that out just a little bit. Or a lot of times I'll just use my forearm just to get that high enough out that my knee can come through. Now, I'm gonna swim to the other side. I'm gonna put my knee down on the ground. From here, I'm gonna move my knee to the other side of his body. I'm gonna pinch my knees together. I wanna hold on to his thigh here as I start to take my hand out, and I'm gonna swim underneath my own arm. So I'm gonna keep my ankles locked, I'm hooked onto that leg, I'm gonna dive under and take his back. All right? So this is a Barimbolo back take from half guard, or quarter guard rather. So, full guard, boom. I get nice and low here, I get the underhook with my right arm. I'm going to start to straighten my right leg, drag his leg down to the ground, shuck open his legs, boom, and I come in, he's got that quarter guard, or half guard now. So, I roll my hip so I can get on the other side. I shuck just enough. See, I'm bouncing a little bit so it's easier for me to get my knee through until just my knee's through. I don't have to worry about getting my whole leg out here. So from here, now you can either, I suppose you could actually skip going to the same side. You could just drive my knee down to the mat here. But it's really important that I'm straddling him. My knee's on this side. It won't work if he's facing the other direction here. And generally, like the way that I was taught this before, I'd have this nice and open. But if Jet were to just let go of my leg when I do the roll, then I'm just gonna disconnect from him, right? So keeping this little, I cross my ankles and I pinch onto that leg, that's gonna allow me to do the roll and carry him with me so that I don't lose him in that roll. Okay, so the way I recommend practicing this, so if you would just give me a little bit of space for a moment, is that I recommend kind of practicing taking your arm, dropping your shoulder down. Remember to keep your weight off your neck. We're just going from shoulder to shoulder here. Dive under and just roll. That's all it is. Simple shoulder roll here. Boom. And then you can start practicing this with a person. Okay, one last time. All right. So I underhook, I get my head nice and low. I don't want him to be able to attack me here. I'm going to straighten my leg, drag, open up his guard, step through, switch, take my forearm, bounce my foot until my knee comes through, bring my knee down to the ground. Notice I've got a little post here so that he can't roll me. Now I'm going to keep my foot heavy here. I don't want him to let go. I don't want him to start shrimping out anything. So I want to keep him stapled onto the ground here. I cross my ankles, pinching onto his leg, drop my shoulder, and take his back. All right.